or propaganda by terrified Pakistan.
We're opening 5 Live today with a story that has appeared in one of Britain's biggest newspapers, The Guardian. It's a long investigative piece that seeks to tell its viewers and its readers that the journalists who've written this piece have nailed India's foreign covert assassinations program. The Guardian article, which runs into thousands of words, basically makes the claim that since 2020, India's research and analysis wing has assassinated, either directly or indirectly, at least 20 terrorists on Pakistani soil. It calls them terrorists. Now, this entire piece is by way of sources, second-hand sources, third-hand sources, not a single on-record claim. The piece in The Guardian claims to be one that is based on the testimony of an Indian intelligence official as well as the testimony of Pakistan-based intelligence officials of the ISI, presumably. What is one to make of this article? Because the Indian government has reacted by saying it is completely false and malicious, completely rejecting the charge made in this investigation, suggesting that the Indian government and the Research and Analysis Wing have run a campaign of assassinations in Pakistan that have resulted in the deaths of 20 terrorists since 2020. Since the beginning of the pandemic, 20 Pakistani terrorists have died under mysterious circumstances at the hands of the Research and Analysis Wing. Now, India may have denied it, but remember, accusations of India running death squads abroad are familiar. We've seen them coming in last year from Canada. We saw an allegation of an attempt on someone's life in the United States as well. All of these in the realm of allegation. But this particular article in The Guardian goes a little deeper because it has what it claims to be evidence based on source testimony. Not a single on-record word anywhere in the thousands of words that have been published by The Guardian, and yet The Guardian wants its readers to believe that this is a smoking gun as far as India's foreign death squad program is concerned.
Adnan Ahmad, alias Hanzla Adnan, a Lashkar terrorist involved in several terror attacks in Jammu and Kashmir, shot dead by unknown gunmen in December last year in Karachi, Pakistan. Rayaz Ahmad, alias Abu Qasim, shot dead in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir by unknown assailants in September. Al-Badr's commander, Sayyid Khalid Raza, and Jaish-e-Mohammad's Mistri Zahoor Ibrahim, aka Jamali, one of the hijackers of the Indian Airlines IC-814 plane, also shot dead in separate attacks in Karachi. Khalistan Commando Force Chief Paramjeet Singh Panjwar, alias Malik Sardar Singh, gunned down last year by unidentified gunmen in Lahore. Now, a report by the UK-based The Guardian attributed to unnamed Indian and Pakistani intelligence operatives as many as 20 enemies of India have been killed since 2020 in Pakistan as part of operations carried out by India's Research and Analysis Wing. What all happened in Pulwama back in 2019 led India to adopt a tougher stance on foreign soil. According to intel operatives quoted by The Guardian, anti-India elements had found their safe havens in Pakistan. The report described it as India's emboldened approach to national security after 2019. Designated terrorists involved in the Khalistani movement were also targeted. Indian agents, according to the report, recruited jihadists to carry out the shootings, making them believe they were killing infidels. The Guardian claimed that the killings were orchestrated by Indian intelligence sleeper cells, mostly operating out of the United Arab Emirates. Officially, India has categorically maintained that targeted killings in other countries is not Indian policy.
One, we told the Canadians that this is not the government of India's policy. Two, we told the Canadians saying that, look, if you have something specific, if you have something relevant, let us know. We are open to looking at it.
For the enemies of India, though, the killings suggest their so-called safe havens are no longer safe. Bureau Report, India Today.
So the Guardian article, and I'm going to put graphics here in case our viewers have missed the first few minutes of our show, to tell you what the Guardian article basically says. This Guardian front page investigation says that India's Research and Analysis Wing has conducted assassinations of Pakistani terrorists in a large number, about 20 of them since 2020. Nothing on the record, no proof, no indicators of any kind. Most of these killings have actually already been reported by India Today and by other media agencies, but the Guardian has projected this as some kind of a smoking gun that exposes India's covert operations program. I want to bring in for a view on this article and in general some of the questions that it throws up. Sushant Sareen, who is one of India's most well-known observers of all things Pakistan. He's also a senior fellow of the Observer Research Foundation. Rajiv Dogra is a former consul general to Pakistan, senior veteran diplomat. Sushant, to you first. Apart from the litany of, very elementary errors that many people have spotted in this Guardian article already, including, an erroneous picture of one terrorist who actually happens to be someone who was arrested in Delhi last year, claiming that Gurpatwant Pannu is dead, and I'm guessing a few others at least. How are you reading this article, Sushant?
So, Shiv, here is the question. Such an quote-unquote explosive story, such a big expose, and you don't even do basic fact checks.
Yeah.
And publish this. What was the haste in publishing it? Could you not have gone through it with a fine-tooth comb? And everybody says that Guardian, gold standard of journalism. Well, we've seen, what a crappy standard the gold standard in the UK is. But having said that, what is the new information they've brought? You yourself have, and your correspondent Arvind have already reported on these stories. Most of these stories have been sourced from Pakistani sources. Now, it's all very well for the Pakistanis to claim that the Indians have done it. And frankly speaking, for myself, I'll say if the Indians have done it, very good. I think this is exactly what needs to be done. If you're dealing with a rogue state like Pakistan, where these terrorists are, incidentally, somebody should ask Pakistan what these 20 despicable terrorists were doing in Pakistan, living under patronage and protection of the ISI. Why were they there? So that question needs to be asked. But please ask the Pakistanis, since they have been doling out these dossiers to various, rags like Guardian, to a rag called Intercept, to certain other Pakistani journalists who've been publishing these reports. And what happens is, Shiv, it's very interesting. One guy publishes, the other guy publishes the same thing. So you build up a body of work and then everybody seems to start quoting each other. It's in this incestuous relationship and you try and portray it as the truth. But please tell me, what is the evidence? Now they claim that India has paid tons of money to them. Have you traced the money? Okay, fine. You can't trace the people who gave the money. Is there a money trail to actually nail where the money has gone, who has received the money, how much money has come, from which source it has come?
Yeah.
I have not seen any such evidence so far.
Correct.
Okay. Number two, if, and then to quote a former RAW official. Now, anybody who's dealt with Indian intelligence agencies knows one thing, that a former official has absolutely no value. He's like a former general in the Pakistan army. Okay. He's completely out of the loop. Even while you are serving in these agencies, you are working in silos. One silo does not know what the other guy is doing. So unless that official, that quote-unquote unnamed official was actually responsible, which he probably was not and must have been long retired, then his analysis is as good or as bad as mine. But more importantly, Shiv, what you have to understand is that, and I have dealt with many of these RAW officials, some have colleagues in ORF and other places, I can tell you one thing. The officials who really deal with sensitive matters never open their mouth on any one of those matters.
Correct.
You can take a guy like Vikram Sood, you can take a guy like Tilak Dweshwar, I can name any number of them. I have known them for decades. And I can tell you one thing, not once, despite my best efforts to draw them out, not once have they revealed even a single damn thing, which I've always held against them, despite the fact that they're very close friends.
Yeah.
And the ones who open their mouth have actually not dealt with anything sensitive.
This is totally true. If someone's making all these extravagant claims, that's probably the first indication that they've gone nowhere near any kind of covert operation of any consequence. Ambassador Dogra, do you agree? How are you reading this article? Also, what do you think are the intentions behind it? Because as Sushant said, it seems to have been very hastily put together. No copy editing, no fact checking. None of the basic journalistic sort of principles that the Guardian usually shouts from the rooftop about.
Well, I think as Sushant very rightly said, why were those terrorists in Pakistan? I mean, shouldn't that be the first question that
At least the Guardian calls them terrorists, sir. At least the Guardian calls them terrorists.
And the second thing, when I saw this article yesterday morning, the first thing that came to my mind was, oh no, some more anti-India trash by this journalist. I've read any number of her articles. Not one is neutral on India. Every article is poison-tipped.
Yeah.
So I was not surprised by the contents of the article. Still, I read it. Normally, I would not read her articles. Still, I read it because of the venom in it and of the accusations. Twice, she's referred to the highest in PMO as being directly responsible. As if she's got a source in PMO who told her that yes, it was authorized. Second thing is that she has cohabited with Pakistani security or intelligence agents who are famous. Now, to put it in Hindi, they can beat a gadha and make him confess he's a ghoda and vice versa.
True.
So she is doing exactly the same. So she is putting together some bits from here and there and coming to a conclusion which any responsible journalist would not do. The other thing that came to my mind was, why now? After all, the elections are just a couple of days away.
Correct.
So any foreign journalist would think twice before giving such a huge anti-India story.
No, and also Ambassador Dogra, I mean, there is a perception that this actually, in a voter's mind, and I don't want to be facetious about this, but in a voter's mind, this is making India look good. You're whacking your enemies abroad. I'm just boiling it down to its simplest. The voter is not going to say, oh, hey, Bhagwan, my country is so terrible, it's killing our enemies abroad. They will actually enjoy something like this. So politically speaking, this benefits the BJP.
You are absolutely right. But the government of India, be it BJP or any other party, the government of India has maintained through surgical strikes, through Balakot, that we will do it openly. In fact, I believe yesterday Prime Minister said the same thing.
Correct. And today also. Yeah.
Defense Minister also said the same thing. So we are not shy of saying that we will not tolerate terrorism. But her motivation was not this. Her motivation was not to support the ruling party. Her motivation was to spread the message to the international media and to her international clients, whoever they are. India is really doing a hit job, which is reprehensible. So her credentials were in doubt. To me, her credentials were suspect through this article, and her motivations were not at all.
I take your point. Sushant, I want to come to the diplomatic aspect of it. Given that Canada has pointed a finger at India, the United States has a case that's ongoing on Gurpatwant Pannu as well. In light of what happened last year, does this article, and I mean in general the kind of allegations that arise out of this article, do they pose some kind of a foreign policy or a diplomatic challenge for India in your view?
Not really. It's caused a bit of a spat, but it's a classic case of the Western countries, the pot of the Western countries calling the Indian kettle black. Frankly speaking, it's not as though these are guys who've never carried out some kinds of operations in other countries. The Americans are notorious for it. Even Trudeau's father carried out some operations in France and then, was caught with his hand in the till. But the point is, what is the evidence that the Canadians have produced on the Pannu killing? Somebody please tell us. Now, every time this clown comes on television, Trudeau, He comes and keeps talking about the Pannu killing and Canada is a rule of
also, yeah.
kind of rule of law exists in Canada. But somebody should ask him, what is the evidence you have produced? Nothing whatsoever. Even the stuff which is there in the American courts is very flimsy as of now, right? There is no solid, unimpeachable kind of evidence. And then these leaks here and there. But that is as far as, the Western world is concerned.
Yeah.
But the Western world should also ask that the FATF had booked the Pakistanis for harboring these terrorists and giving them a free hand.
Indeed.
Pakistanis booked Hafiz Saeed and claimed that we have put him in jail for 15 years. When that bomb blast which you mentioned in your report, Shiv, happened, it turned out that Hafiz Saeed was not in jail, he was living in his house.
Correct.
Why was somebody asking the Pakistanis that how is a jailed man living in his house? But, the bizarreness, and as far as these fellows are concerned, the Pakistanis have latched on to Canadian quote-unquote credible allegations, whatever that means. It's an oxymoron if you ask me.
Yeah.
But they have lashed it on because they thought, okay, fine. Now, we can also wash our clothes in this particular soap water, which the Canadians have produced. So that is why they are spreading this kind of nonsense. But somebody should ask them that there have been cases, and I wonder if this Guardian journalist, who's clearly quite a trashy journalist, why has the Guardian newspaper not investigated a story which comes out of Scotland, if I'm not mistaken, of a character who's paid by the ISI to travel to Netherlands to kill a Pakistani dissident.
Good question.
In red-handed, is then prosecuted and is gone into jail for 25 years. Why has the Guardian not bothered to ever investigate that story?
Absolutely.
And come out with who has been responsible for these kind of extraterritorial, extrajudicial killings, whether in Sweden, where Baloch activists have been killed, or in Canada, in Toronto, where a Baloch activist has been killed? What about that? What about the admission of Musharraf in a television interview where he says, yes, we will go and we are going to go and we are actually killing, anti-Pakistan or Pakistani dissidents outside Pakistan.
Absolutely.
He is admitted that on record. I don't think anybody in India has said that. In India, people keep saying, because we like to, thump our chest all the time.
True.
We keep saying, should be doing this. And I completely agree, we should be doing it. But please, somebody tell me, actually, have we done it or have we not done it? I would give them a Bharat Ratna if they've done it. If they've kind of operations which the Guardian accuses them of carrying out, then world's number one agency is not ISI, it's RAW.
It's RAW, yeah. Last word to you. I just have a couple of minutes left, Ambassador Dogra. India has called this article false and malicious. Does it end there? I mean, do you think that there's going to be more from where this came from, especially since it's election season?
Well, knowing the kind of stuff that she writes, I don't think she's going to give up. She might lie low for a little while, maybe.
Not just her, I mean in the press in general.
In the press in general, I think we can expect some more. The international press and their sympathizers, wherever they are, they have some kind of a love-hate relationship with India.
Yeah.
Whether it's journalists or politicians outside, they feel that India is important, but India should not stray from the lines and boundaries drawn by them. Now, that cannot happen. India is too big a country and too responsible a country to follow someone's command. So, we should not expect anything from a journalist like her, but at the same time, we should not overemphasize the effect of her writings.
Okay. I get what you're saying. Sushant, you had your finger up. 15 seconds left on the show. Yes, last word.
I just wanted to make a tiny correction to what Ambassador Dogra said. Look, this bunch of the Western media, which is white, racist, quote-unquote liberal, they don't have a love-hate relationship with India. They have a hate-hate relationship with the Hindus of India just because they are trying to assert themselves and they're trying to rediscover their heritage. They have nothing but undiluted hate, and these are nothing but white Christian racists who operate under this very liberal kind of rubric. but at the end of the day, we know where they are coming from.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Ambassador Dokra Suchansarine. Always a pleasure helping us decode this Guardian article, which is still resonating, at least on social media. We'll have to see if the government does anything more about it. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with me here.
Intelligence meets art. Motorola H50 Pro.
Hello, Moto.
An unparalleled election coverage with the team that wins every election. From unmatched on-ground reporting to real-time poll updates. Stay tuned to the Maximum channel for the maximum coverage.
Platinum partner, Signature Finest Silver Elaichi, a premium product from Dilbagh.
See?
Celebration is in the air in the state of Tamil Nadu. Any of you come to Madurai? I've been going across Karaikudi. Vanakkam, land of Dravidianism. Akshita Nandagopal. Thank you very much for welcoming me to my own show. Nice to finally meet you, Mr. Annamalai. They can't hear much of what I'm saying.
अब सोच के देखिए बाबा अम्बेडकर जी क्या सोचते होंगे, शहीद भगत सिंह क्या सोचते होंगे। ऐसे भ्रष्ट और करप्ट लोगों के साथ हमारी फोटो टांग दी। ये देश के लिए लड़ने वाले लोग थे और ये परिवार के लिए धन इकट्ठा करते हुए शराब घोटाला करते हुए जेल गए लोग हैं। सुनीता जी, आपको ये पाप नहीं करना चाहिए था, आपने बहुत बड़ा पाप किया है। और मैं कहना चाहता हूं, जैसे अरविंद केजरीवाल जी को इस पाप की सजा मिली है, आपको ऐसा पाप दोहराना नहीं चाहिए। ये पाप का सजा भुगत रहे हैं अरविंद केजरीवाल, जिनको बच्चों का शराब लगा है, जिनकी झूठी कस्में खाते थे, उन माताओं का शराब लगा है जिनको अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने नशा परोसा, इसलिए वो जेल गए हैं। और ऐसे जेल में आदमी की आप फोटो बाबा साहब अम्बेडकर जी के साथ लगाएं, शहीद भगत सिंह जी के साथ लगाएं, ये उनका बहुत बड़ा अपमान है। ये अपमान आपको नहीं करना चाहिए था।
यादविंदर जी, शुक्रिया हमसे बात करने के लिए। सर, ये बताइए कि जब आपने वो तस्वीर देखी, सुनीता केजरीवाल का वो वीडियो देखा जहां पर वो एक मैसेज पहुंचा रही है अरविंद केजरीवाल की तरफ से पब्लिक को, आपने पीछे जो तस्वीरें देखी वो देखकर आपको कैसा लगा सर?
बहुत बुरा लगा, बहुत अफसोस हुआ कि हमारी देश की राजनीति का स्तर इतना नीचे जा रहा है। और खासतौर की आम आदमी पार्टी जिसने ये तरह का एक कहते हैं दुस्साहस किया है, एक शहीदों की गरिमा को खराब करने का, उनके साथ अपनी तुलना करने का एक प्रयास किया, मेरे ख्याल से गलत प्रयास किया उन्होंने। भगत सिंह जी के साथ, अम्बेडकर जी के साथ केजरीवाल जी की तुलना करने का। देखिए, ये इतने महान लोग हैं, हम लोग इनके रास्ते पे चल सकते हैं, पर अगर आप कहें कि क्योंकि भगत सिंह जी का हम जीवन काल देखते हैं, एक एक दिन उनका, एक एक क्षण उनकी जीवन का हमें प्रेरणा देता है, संघर्ष से भरा हुआ है। और उन्होंने जो बलिदान दिया था वो व्यक्तिगत रूप से अपने लिए बलिदान नहीं दिया था। उन्होंने जो बलिदान दिया था, शहादत दी थी, पूरे समाज के लिए, पूरे देश के लिए दी थी। तो हमारे नेता जो अपना व्यक्तिगत स्वार्थ पूरा करने के लिए, या फिलहाल जो हमें देखने को आम आदमी पार्टी दिख रही है केजरीवाल जी के रूप में, उनको अपना व्यक्तिगत स्वार्थ सिद्ध करने के लिए इस तरह का प्रयास नहीं करना चाहिए। देश सेवा के लिए